Good evening and welcome to my live stream, Fight CPS, Stop Taking Our Children. I'm your host, Bob Pace, and it's a warm welcome. I'm glad you found me because I'm here to talk about the child protection system. The child protection system. Now, the child protection system is a very complex system and something that should be handled by an attorney. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I do have an attorney that I have hired and he would love to work for you. And reason why it's so complex, if you were going to do heart surgery, would you do it yourself? Or would you have a plumber or a mechanic do heart surgery on you? Of course not. You need someone that's educated, trained, has a lot of experience before they take on your case. Because why? The CPS, a lot of the agencies are corrupt. They lie, they commit perjury in court, and they steal. They steal money. And it's sad because your children are the most precious things they are. They are the most precious things. Now I'm on 3 times a day from 8 in the morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 6 o'clock in the evening. That's 3 times a day, 7 days a week. Every month, every year. I've been doing it for 2.5 years. I started in October of 2023. So it's a lot of live stream and a lot of times I've talked in here. I had a lot of life skills with facts about CPS and how to fight CPS, how to hang on to your children, how not to let your children go, mistakes that people made. In fact, I have 5 rules. If I followed them, I would never have my children stolen. True, I am a victim of CPS. As smart and crafty as I am, I was suckered by the agency big time. And I lost my forever home. I lost one of my biological children to CPS. And I've had a miserable time since I've been fighting for 15 years. And so I'm telling you, they are bad. They are bad. And I can tell you cases after cases. I've talked to over 2,600 people plus since I started this live stream 2.5 years ago. And not only do I talk to every state in the United States and several people in each state, I've talked to 30 countries. One of them being close to us is Canada. I've talked to several provinces in Canada. I've talked to Mexico. I've talked to South America. Then across the pond to Europe, I've talked to England, Scotland, Wales. Last week, I had a lady, Heather Stewart, from Scotland. And then I've had someone from England and Wales. In England, it was Leeds, and in Wales, it was Cardiff. Then we go to mainland Europe, and I've talked to Sweden and Germany. And then we drop down to the continent of Africa, and I've talked to a bunch of countries there. I have talked, actually, a phone call came in from South Africa from one of the provinces. Then we go up to the Middle East. I've talked to the Middle East. And then I've talked to India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, and New Zealand and Australia, several states in Australia. But they all had something in common. They encountered a bad CPS. So the 2,600 people, their CPS was bad and their police was bad. Does that mean 100% of the CPS is bad? No, because every state has counties, and every county will have a CPS group of social workers working with them. And every country, every city has a CPS. They're structured a little bit differently than the US, but a lot of the countries model after the US. But it's bad. Whether you're in another country or in the United States, you encounter a bad one, a rogue one, they're going to destroy you, especially if you're low income and you can't pay. There's a lot of fees associated with being involved in CPS. It's sad. It really is. And there's a lot of false allegations made. In fact, it's the only area of law where they accuse you, you're guilty till you're proven innocent. It's the only court of law. When you go to dependency court, which CPS does, it's called dependency court. And they deal with dependency matters, family matters, and juvenile matters. Now, family court is like divorce. And juvenile is like when the juveniles do criminal activities. Then there's criminal court, and there's all kinds of different kinds of court. But you need an attorney who specializes in family law, dependency law, and juvenile law. And wait a second, I had it here and I've lost it here. I wonder why it's not coming up. Hold on. Okay, I have a disclaimer that I put on the bottom of my screen. And it says I'm not an attorney, which I'm not. But I have a lot of years' experience doing the CPS. I too know it firsthand. I was involved. And there's over 2,600 people I can share it with. And the attorney I hired, his name is Vincent W. Davis. And he has a really great website that has a lot of package deals called the stand.store/attorney VWD. You go there, you'll see all kinds of specials. His normal website for his office is vincentwdavis.com. And you can reach him at 888-888-6582. That's the office number. Now, when you reach there, you'll talk to reception. Tell reception that Bob Pace sent you. Also, when you speak to Mr. Davis, tell him that Bob Pace sent you. It's very important because then Vincent knows I've talked to you and pretty much done everything I can to help you out and get you set up to talk to Vincent. Now, he works out of LA County and his office located in Arcadia. His rates are simple. They're a $5,000 retainer and $550 an hour. They're not fixed in stone. You do need to talk to him because all cases are dependent on the complexity, how long the case has been going on, and how far away the case is. So if your case is in, let's say, Wisconsin, he has to have air transportation, ground transportation, then he's got accommodations, and then he's got his food, and then he's got a license fee for that state, and then he's got the miscellaneous fees for copying or whatever he needs there. So those are the typical areas of cost. But Vince will be able to tell you all. All you do is call that number 888-888-6582. And again, I have a lot of background. I can help you, but I'm not a lawyer. So what I tell you, it's for those that don't have a lawyer, that don't like using a court-appointed attorney. I was helping Georgia. Georgia has a terrible case. First of all, you cannot be emotional when you're dealing with CPS. If you're emotional with CPS, it's going to work against you. You don't want to do that when you're emotional. And you got to be calm and collect. That's why you need an attorney. Even people that are lawyers will hire a defense attorney that is trained and educated in dependency law, family law, and juvenile law. Those are the three areas, especially for CPS cases. Now, for this next 50 minutes, that's how much longer is left, I'll do my best to answer all your questions. All I ask for you is to put your first name and your city and state, or if you're outside of the United States, your country, your city and country. And I'll do my best to answer your question. Now, because I'm on 3 times a day, 7 days a week, that's 21 live streams a week that you can get information from. Won't cost you anything, and it'll save your life and save your kid's life. And so I'm here to help you. I do care. And when you're dealing with CPS, your heart's going to be broken. And if you don't know the rules, like I have 5 rules, and my rule number 3 says, don't open the door to strangers. Don't talk to CPS or talk to police. Don't let them in the house. And if they are in the house, don't let them look around. And don't talk to them, and don't let them take your children, which you can very nicely do. That if you messed up and you actually open the door and stuff, and they're in there, you can say, first question you want to ask them, is this a legal matter? If it's a legal matter, you have a constitutional right and civil rights that says that any legal matter, you're allowed to have an attorney represent you. And if one is not, if you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. So that includes the investigation and coming to the door. But if you don't know the police, you don't know the social worker, why answer it? Too many times people open the door, like one woman in Los Angeles, California, was shot 5 times by an LA sheriff. That's bad. That's bad. She's dead. She's not going to come back. In Gainesville, Florida, a Gainesville, Florida sheriff shot a man, a young man in the Air Force 5 times, and he's dead. He died on the phone. He had FaceTime talking to his fiancee. Now, she'll never get to marry him, and his mother, who's in Alabama, will never get to see her son. Now, those two sheriffs, those are 2 examples, are being sued on. They were fired, but that won't bring back the life of the young man or the lady that got shot in the face. There are other cases I can cite. All you know, there's a lot of. We had 2 recent killings up in Minnesota, and those are terrible. No one should be shot, and police have got to learn that it's best to wound them in the foot or leg or hand, especially if they're not shooting. They're not shooting. Now, I know that supposedly the man in Gainesville, Florida had a gun in his side. He had a permit to have a gun. But he wasn't shooting at the policeman. The policeman opened the door, saw the gun, and fired 5 times. Now, he could have shot the guy in the foot or the arm or in the hand where the gun was. Or he could have said to the gentleman, drop your weapon, lay on the floor. And then he could go over there and scoot the weapon to the one wall or somewhere away from the body, and then get behind him and put handcuffs and then talk to him. But instead, he just fired 5 times. So the same thing can happen in CPS cases. And why I'm saying that, you open the door, the police are there, but they're there to protect a social worker. Just a couple of days ago in New York, a man that was high on drugs murdered a caseworker, stomped him with his shoes. It's a true story. The guy is local and stuff, but the CPS worker was out there to investigate the hearing a child scream or yell, whatever the case would be. So I'm telling you, even the people at the other side have to be careful. There are policemen and social workers are shot all the time. But the purpose of the policeman is not to enforce CPS rules. The purpose of the policeman is to protect the social worker. Furthermore, the social worker should not use the policeman to enforce CPS rules, or the image of the policeman there can be very frightening. You know, they're dressed out in their fatigues, combat boots, and it's terrible. It's a terrible experience. So that's one of my rules. You don't open the door. And if you do open it, you try to tell them you're going to get your attorney if it's a legal matter, and that you more time you meet with them. Whatever you do, make sure you meet at a public place. When you meet at their office or meet in your home, a lot of things can happen bad. And you say, well, what can happen at the office? Well, they can end up arresting you. There are policemen at the office, and they'll make your life miserable there and try to take away your children. Now, if you're at your home, they're going to do the same thing. But children cannot be taken from a parent unless there's a court order, a warrant. Also, the child has to be in danger or threat of being in danger. Now, if your allegations is the child goes to school dirty, that's not an imminent danger, and the parent should still have the child, but the parent needs to take a parenting class of how to bathe children. It is complicated. I know what you're going through. Now, thank you for the thumbs up. I love that emoji. Now, I have 2 people in the room, and I have some other people that have text messages over to me. Um, I'm sorry. When I look at my web page, I got to explain to you what happens. To do this program, I'm supposed to have two devices. One is my computer that operate the SteamYard, which is the application I use. The other is my phone, and I use Vonage on my phone. But when you work on the phone, things freeze up. My page, the SteamYard, you can't hear me, it freezes up, and so forth. And if I go look at something on the internet, the same thing happens. I was looking on the internet. I always look for things to answer stuff. But you got to be really careful out there around CPS. And you certainly don't want to see them without an attorney present. And that goes to, well, I can't afford an attorney. I'm going to tell you how you can afford an attorney and the types of attorneys. I'm going to talk to you about record keeping and how to organize your paperwork. I'm going to talk about the do's and don'ts with social workers and at the hospital. Social workers are at the hospital now doing terrible things. I found out something that I accidentally put something on my page. I can understand how it got there, but I think how it happened is that I'm looking at my emails. I hit one of my spam by mistake, and then it creates a thing. Do you want it on your calendar? I wasn't looking what it did, and I copied it to my calendar. It was a terrible message. It was like, X number of dollars be charged such as it. It's really scary how easy it is to screw up. Now, I'm looking for questions and answers and how they help you. This isn't about me. This isn't about me beating my chest or anything else. I'm here to help you, but in order to do so, I need some comments or questions from you. Now, I can talk for a good hour. I do it all the time, but sometimes I put myself to sleep, and I don't want to do that. But CPS is complicated. It's like, the story of Alice in Wonderland? Well, Alice had fallen in the rabbit hole and meets the Chester cat. The Chester cat chases from room to room or tells her to go from room to room, and she never gets anywhere. She never gets anywhere. And so it's very, very important that we don't make that same mistake. Now, I'd love, again, a comment, either a question or a comment, and it can be something about CPS. I know a lot of you have those questions or comments. I'd like to hear from you. Now, I have my regulars, 50 to about 75 regulars that come in here all the time. And they got used to it and know how the show is supposed to go. And I also draw from 8 pages, 7 from Facebook and 1 from YouTube. There are 8 different pages found on Facebook. So no matter what you search, you're going to come across a place that'll tell you to come here. Now, CPS is a government entity. It was mandated by Congress in the 60s to enact and start a program with social services and create a CPS district for them, an office building separate from social services. Now, there is John Hartel. I know you've been in here before. Hello, Mr. Hartel. Good to see you again. And what would you like to ask me today? What would you like to ask me today, John? And I got 2 hearts. Thank you. If I ever got CPS involved, I hope not, because of my aunt invitation, and I told a social worker that worked at my baby's doctor's office, she ignored it. It could have sued her for negligence as well. Whoa, what happened here? I told a social worker that worked at my baby. Okay, number 3, another part of that equation, never talk to social workers at hospital, urgent care. They're there to trick you and they will take your child away. No, you wouldn't sue her for negligence. You'll sue the landlord. You also told me a neighbor has a dog that never went out, so maybe he defecated or urinated, and all that attracted the ants. For some of you not listening to me, she has an ant problem. And I think it deals with a divider. So maybe a code enforcement problem, but she could get animal control out for the dog. And she could also look into it how the ant can be taken care of. She can get a hold of, in California, they use an outfit called Vector to take care of all the rodents and infestations like cockroaches and ants. It's a good thing you're not invaded by cockroaches. It's a good thing you're not, Kayla. And I know you didn't do anything. I'm going to put her comments up so you can see it. Well, you wouldn't call it negligence because social worker is not responsible for infestations. Who's responsible is you taking care of the place, someone else having a dog that may be illegal or something like that. You told me there's a partition and it somehow fall apart and it makes ants want to live there. And you said the dog is dirty or never getting outside, that maybe he's bringing the ants in. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing there. But Kayla, I do want to help you. We've been talking about this for a couple days. Well, she didn't do anything. She could have, but then she would charge you. She would charge you with negligence because you weren't protecting the child from the ant infestation. I also said you could call code enforcement to see maybe if the partition is up to code. I'd make sure the owner, or if the owner has a management company taking care of, the management company knows about it. If you call animal control, you can say a dog's been left up there that barks all day, left alone in the apartment for long periods of time. That is not right for a dog like that. I don't know if the dog is a big dog or a small dog, but still, it's a mess. It's a mess. The social worker just talked to my landlord for me, but it didn't go anywhere. Instead of blaming me that I have leave wet puppy pads out, which is not true, I'm home 24/7 to take care of my dog. Well, I think you said the neighbor's dog never has gone outside. Your dog, I imagine you take him for walks and outside. John Hartle says, what do I do when my public defender does not contact me after I try to get in touch with them? Well, that's a good question, and someone else asked that earlier today. What you do with your public defender, if that's the only one you can use, you put him on notice, you tell him or her that you need to perform for me, and if you don't, I will contact the state capitol and have your license removed for negligence. Furthermore, I will sue you in a civil lawsuit for negligence. Now, you can sue up to $25,000 now in small claims. And so, maybe it's worth $25,000. I don't know. I agree, but you got to be careful because they're going to look at your dog too. I like the idea that code enforcement will come out and cite the landlord with incorrect partitioning wall. I know it makes a mess. When someone let a dog go out, they need to defecate, they need to urinate. And how can they defecate or urinate if they're locked up in the house all day? So we need to get that addressed because if conditions are terrible, then you will be charged for negligence because you're not keeping it clean for your baby. And they'll take your baby away. And you don't want that to happen. You do not want that to happen. You got to be careful there. You got to be careful. I think Lisa is in my room. Lisa from Montana, are you there? Hmm. Um, Kayla saying, I feel bad for the dog. I really do. I just think the best thing to do is to get code department involved. I'm just afraid of getting evicted. You won't get evicted by calling the code department because then you can sue them. But you don't want another legal matter. I understand. When my kids were taken from me illegally, I also had other matters too. I had to fight an eviction. I had to fight. What else I had to fight? Geez, I had a lot of battles. It's terrible. Oh, I had to fight a predatory loan. I had a loan that the lender overqualified me, and that was a hard thing to swallow. You know, lenders are so bad, and this one called Countrywide was the worst. Oh yes, I can get you a loan, and I sit there going, "How did I qualify for that loan?" I tell you what, I can get you a credit line too. And suddenly he had me buried. He had me $950,000 in debt. That's a lot of money. And I'm paying, low interest, but I'm paying a couple $1,000s in interest payments. And the property tax was scary. The property tax was scary. Now, John says that his original attorney had to excuse him because he's becoming a juvenile delinquent. Is it your son that is involved in the CPS matter? I can't remember. You have a CPS matter, a family law matter, or a juvenile matter, or is it all three? Dependency law, family, and juvenile. Now, Kayla says my boyfriend father is like, are you typing to get us evicted or trying? My boyfriend and the father of your child is like trying to get you evicted, but that's what he says. Oh my God, that's terrible. No, we got rights to a safe place. I agree. Can you help me out, Kayla? Because it sounds like, is the boyfriend the father of the child trying to get us evicted? Why would he want to do that? I'm probably misreading it along. John Hertus says, yes, okay. Just juvenile. You just have a juvenile court. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, we're at half past the hour. We got 30 minutes left, and I hope that you guys are given an opportunity to talk here. All I ask is your first name and then the question or comment. Oh, where you're from. I like to know the city and state, and if you're outside the United States, the city and country. And just tell me where you're at, and that'd be great. Who's trying to get you us evicted? He's not trying to get us evicted. He's telling me that because I report so much stuff to landlord. Well, you know, it's interesting how people are. It's really interesting. But I thought you had a bad husband, so I don't think he would be really good. I keep notes, but I'm not sure if I have it all right on you, Kay Lamar. Now we're half past the hour, so I got 30 minutes left here. Well, if you're evicted, that's the worst case scenario because not only do you have to have a place for your child is safe, but you have your own dog to have to worry about. He can really make it rough on you, your ex. I thought your husband knew about sprays and could get ant infestations. So maybe you have to call a bug remover guy and get 3 quotes. Maybe they only charge a couple $100 to get rid of your infestation. Then once that invitation is better, then your child's better. Now he just doesn't really care much about the bug problem. I mean, he does support us because I'm not working, but he doesn't care about the bug problem. Well, he should because his daughter will be taken and put into foster care. My boyfriend doesn't want to get evicted. He just thinks that will soon, since I'm reporting so much stuff to the landlord. You're trying to protect your baby. CPS likes hearing that because you are putting your baby first. If the place is not environmentally safe, you don't want a child to stay there. Now, you have the father, so you guys are probably separated, divorce, but he still wants to be there to support and help out your firstborn with him, correct? Okay, I'm sorry I'm cutting in and out of the room here. Um, see, before John. Oh, intended Eve. I haven't heard you in days. So we just finished up with Kayla, and her boyfriend doesn't want to get evicted, and he thinks we're reporting too much stuff. Intended Eve. Hi, Eve. Good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. You're from Los Angeles, California. What is this medication for, Eve? Is it something to do with CPS? So John and his wife are separated. I don't live with them. Why am I involved with the case? Because you're the biological father. You can say, hey, I don't want to be involved with them, and that's fine. But then your children will probably take it from the mother if the mother can't take care of them, John. So, Eve, what is the medication that works really good? Kayla? We live together. I guess you and your boyfriend are probably called code enforcement soon. Well, if you live with your boyfriend, have you thought about buying a can of ant infestation, like by Raid or some other notable brands? You go to Home Depot, um, you go to the grocery stores. A lot of them sell ant spray. But you got to make sure one that says infestation. They should be able to take it and get in there deep. And you got to make sure you keep people from around it. You don't want them licking it. It's very poison, very toxic. Um, I'm okay, Eve. Thank you for asking. That was sweet of you. Yeah, this one lady has a problem with ants. She has amputation, Kayla does, and she's been trying to deal with it. And she thinks her ex is probably causing part of it with his animals that he never lets out and stuff. Ants and roaches, Eve. That's what she has. That's what Kayla has. Ants and roaches. It's due to a partition that isn't constructed right, and there's a dog upstairs that may be defecating or urinating, and all that's attracting the ants and roaches. Whose parental rights will be removed? I don't know what you're talking about, Eve. It's called Orthies Fire Ant Killer. Okay, that's probably the brand name. Oh, it's a neighbor upstairs, Kayla. No, our neighbor is upstairs. Don't let the dog out. Sorry if I confused. It's not an ex, it's a neighbor upstairs. Okay. Eve says make sure to put it where the children and animals want to. Yeah, you don't want them eating the poison. Eve also says make sure to put it where the children and animals. Okay, I just read that. I don't know why it repeated, but repeated twice. Okay, I got it. I got it. Now I have 5 rules, and real quickly I'll say them, and then I'll go into the depth of them. One, if you're going to fight CPS, you have to get an attorney. I mean, you need to get the right kind of attorney, one that's trained in the areas of CPS in dependency law, family law, and juvenile law. And you're up connected with them on Saturday night, the 17th to 8. Um, yeah, Eve, that's right. We'll make sure the ant poison put where children and animals won't have access to it. Now, Eve says the father, if he refuses to have anything to do with the child. Who are you talking about, Eve? I have several people in the room. I don't know who you're referring to, Eve. Um, a new person, Brittany. Welcome, Brittany. I got an issue in my state, big issue. They're trying to cover up, down. Here's a lady over foster care. Her husband has sexually abused my kid. She is back with us. I am so sorry to hear that, Brittany, and that happens all the time. Can you tell me some more details about this and what city and state you're from? And Eve, what city or state are you from? I know I've had you in here, but I forgot. I already know Kayla. And Eve, it's called Anitha's file. Okay. Well, it's pretty hard. Yeah, Eve, that's right. Doge. Doge is the last resort without doing a lawsuit. What I tell people right now that if you're not getting the CPS to cooperate and you've talked to the social worker, then you need to make sure you talk to the supervisor, then a manager, then the director. Then after that, it goes to state. You want to talk to the civil rights coordinator, and then it's going to go back out um, in October. I was looking down at my notes there. Now, Doge again is last resort. That's the Department of Government Efficiency. That's in Washington, D.C. Area code's 202, the same as the White House. There's two phone numbers. You can look it up. Look up the Dodge phone numbers, Doge phone numbers in Washington, D.C. Um, but they can't look into it. Right now, I know they're looking at Orange County right now and LA County. That's a big task because they have to do a lot of things besides shell services. But they're looking for irregularities and paying excess of money, and people that are dead still getting checks, and then the people are being paid money to still hang around and they're not employed. There's a lot of issues that need to be looked into. A lot of issues. Okay, we have about 15 minutes left, and I have to wrap up the show. My show goes to 7 o'clock, and right now I'm broadcasting live from Southern California, south of Los Angeles, on the West Coast, in a place called Surf City, USA. I'm down at the beach. I can look at the beach on my window and about 3 blocks walking to the beach. And I like that. But it's a good idea you report things to Doge, but also you can report it up the food chain. Like if you've already reported to the senior caseworker, then you got the contact social worker, then you got contact the moon. Now this Doge has been fighting all the agencies. They are right now investigating Orange County, California, social services there. And CPS is investigating because I know for a fact from talking to a lady in Richmond, Kentucky, Faye, they are embezzling funds. The social workers are. They're trying to find accountability for some funds they're given from the federal government. They give millions of dollars and to the state. The state in turn, will pay exactly what it's worth, or where the case may be. And without sometimes going up a higher food chain to resolve the issue. Now, the civil rights coordinators at the state level. At the federal level, it's Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. They like to hear from you. And if they're wasting money or doing things illegal, we need to stop them. We need to stop them. We also need to march up to our Congress, a group of us, and talk about the issues involved with CPS. Why is it still very difficult to do certain things? But that's good advice, Eve. And get a lawyer if possible with contingency fees. Now, what do you mean contingency fees? You'll pay him a certain amount if he does a certain thing. What do you mean by contingencies, Eve? And Brittany Brown says, thank you. And Teddy says, call police from different jurisdictions and report the violations. Eve says, or upscale to watch the commander. Kayla says, should I bring up the dog? Let me turn the comments on so you see it. Should I also bring up the dog upstairs again to my landlord? I already did it sometime last year, but shouldn't I do it again? No, you don't want to keep. I don't know your relationship with your landlord. He may raise the rent or even boot you out. Now, Brittany Brown is somebody new in here. We've notified the authority and child advocates. And the state is trying to cover it up. I'm in Mississippi. Okay. Well, if the state's trying to cover it up, it's time you go to the federal government. You want to go to DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. They have a website, and they have a site that's really busy. They're starting at the top with social service, like they're checking out the price for phone and the price for internet and those kinds of things. They're trying to do all that. They're checking up on there. Now, this evening. I have about 15 minutes left, and Brittany says she's notified the authorities and Child Advocate Center. The state is trying to cover up Mississippi. That's terrible. The state's bad. You're going to have to go to DOGE. Now, Kayla further says this is not related to CPS, but I applied for disability back in fall of 2024. I still really haven't heard anything yet. How long can it take to get approved? Well, first of all, anything you order and anything you get approved is a life skill. You need to ask them, how many working days will this come in? Or when will this form be mailed? When is that? Then you need to call them again. I'm having the same trouble with my computer brick that goes to plugs in my computer and gives power. I first started with the store where I bought the computer. They told me it'd be ready in a week. Well, they later told me the letter that they can't get the part I'm on my own. So I went to the manufacturer, Asus, and have asked them for a vial of water there. And it's hard. I know what you're going through. But disability, you may have to follow up. If they told you the next day, then call the next day. I have a whole list of tasks that I have to organize and do. And like right now, I'm trying to change my service because I think I found something cheaper. But I'm also running into a lot of obstacles. And they should have given you a date. So you need to call them back and say, what is my approval date of my disability? You need to do that. Now, Brittany Brown says, foster parents still getting paid on my child. She sold her car, took her money for the car and money for her account. I have a paper trail. Good for you. You should have a paper trail. Keep in mind that children are being paid by the state to the social worker, not the social worker, but to the CPS office in the tune of $20,000 per month per child. So you have 3 children, it's $90,000 every month that they're doing there. So you got to be careful. You got to be really careful with people like that. Now, Georgia called in. I have a paper for the state. Wait a minute, Georgia. I think you called in, Georgia, right before my morning show or my afternoon show started. I think it was my morning show, and I tried to help you. Now you say if I have a paper from the state to CPS stating unfounded, would they still have to be in your life or be all closed? Once your case is dismissed by CPS, and in Georgia's case, I guess CPS is called CYS. I don't know what they stand for, but Children Youth Services. I mean, that's what it is. I don't know. It's just, there's over 20 entities that now have internet, Wi-Fi, and there's one that now has 2, and so they can make a if they can No, if you have to get it expunged, this is the thing is, you're found not guilty, you need to go through the extra time to get your records expunged. If you're in foster care on the age of 18 and you leave foster care, one of your first things to do is you should get a lawyer to help you file that you get the criminal matter erased from your record. You get what they talked about so they won't come back to haunt you. It won't have to haunt you. Now, Eve says the thing that you need to have is a trail of document. Good point, Eve. Thank you, Eve. Eve says, so the email the landlord or text the landlord, remember to give or ask for a set date for the problem to be resolved. Good point, Eve. Thank you. Eve, I recommend using Chat GPT to articulate the letter in a professional manner since you're making a formal complaint. Well, I think Microsoft Word or Google Word or they're okay. And a template, you can look around, but long as it's polite, gets to the point. You want to make sure that they know who they're talking to and what is being wrongfully accused and how you want to correct it and when will you get your children back. Now, Kayla says, they tell me they can't give me a time. Every case is different. That's true, but what do you mean a time for what? What do you time when you can go to court or when you've been to court or what? I don't understand there. She's asking where the child is now. I don't know if she wants to give the location because the child isn't with CPS. They'll hear this and they'll come and track the child down. Yes, she did. Whoa. What was the question there? Well, I think I answered they all have to be in your life there, John. Okay, let me see here. Okay, E says, okay, write to the regional center, to the regional administrator, which is your workers overseeing office personnel, and make the report to them. They'll address it right away. Eve says, make sure that you're communicating to the social worker via email or text messages only. And Eve says, okay, then start commenting via white and black. And John Harte says, yes, children and youth services. Okay. Brittany, thanks, everyone. Well, thank you, Brittany. You're part of this here. You're part of here. Eve says, if you'll need to speak on the phone, make sure to record the conversation. In California, you don't need information. Sometimes you're recording if you believe that your family is in danger of. Tenny says, being harmed or you feel for well-being. Kayla says, for disability. E says, I met only there in foster care. E further says, best of luck. God is trying. Stay strong. Okay, I need to check my Vonage because some calls are coming in here. Georgia just texted me and I had to stop SteamYard. I prefer you guys just text a message on the page. And it used to be over there. I don't know why it's doing there. It's like in a different spot now. Maybe because one of the comments is too long or tall. Ah, there we go. I had it too wide. Tall. Okay. All right. There we go. Now you should be able to see the comments quite easily. I'm sorry, I had to leave the room to get myself centered in the picture. All right. Now, your boyfriend got bite by something too. I knew it was a matter of time. This apartment sucks. I'll see what is like a little bit. Well, what do you think he got bitten by ant? It sounds like your whole apartment's infestations, and you're going to have a bug or tenant or something there to get rid of whatever you have that's gone wild in there. That is really tough, Kayla. And yes, I agree. The best thing is to get animal control. I wouldn't really tell the landlord because then they're thinking you're snitching on the tenant. I would just say very calmly that I live at such and such a place, and upstairs I hear a dog constantly barking. It's left in there all day. And then they'll come out and investigate and talk to the owner. And you can tell animal control, please do not give the owner my name. Now I have about 5 minutes left. It's a little after 7. I'm going to get calls coming in, so I'm going to have to end my show. And I hope that your boyfriend could get that bite taken care of, that bit. So I really want to thank everybody that's been listening to me, and your questions, comments are great. Kayla, I really thank you very much. And again, you can still stay with me. Eve, it's good to see you. Eve is from Los Angeles. Kayla has a lot of issues there. Brittany, thank you. John Harty, thank you. Who else I have in here I want to thank? Kayla, I think I already have, and Eve. Lots of Eves, and George Hartle. Thank you, George. And Kmar, good, got you there. Eve, Brittany, Eve, Kayla. Yep, Eve, boy, we have a lot of you guys. This has been a really active room. I really appreciate this, John Hurtle. Kayla, John Hurtle. Kayla. Well, it looks like the racing cars from Newport Beach moved up to Surf City because I hear them in Surf City out there. People are jacking up their cars, and then the police are cracking down, and all they do is move to other places. Kayla, who else is in here? John Harte, I did that. I think I got everybody. Yeah, I did. I want to thank you all. I want to thank the emojis and the thumbs up and the love. That's great. I don't want you to quit. I want you to keep coming back. I'm again on tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. That's Saturday. I'll be on, and I'd love to talk to you some more. And whatever you do, keep fighting your case. Get an attorney. I have one. He's available at 888-888-6582. Hire Mr. Davis. He'll get your kids back. He got mine back. And listen to my other live streams. I talk more about my rules, about my case and who I am, a lot more. Today we're kind of busy with trying to help people with ant infestations, a barking dog. What else do we have there? Issues like that. But anyway, it's good to meet you new people. Good to see my regular people. God bless you all, and good night. And please listen to the video. There's a video right after I sign off. Okay, listen to it. Good night.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last ones left. Put your faith in this. We are